Hello, everyone, friends. Um, to our Dato and our Sehati members and leaders and community leaders and community of people in Bau. Yeah? Nice to meet you. And this is a monologue. Yeah? I will be talking on Greater Bau. Yeah? Greater Bau. So um, for a series of four talks or four sessions over the webinar, or you can say online seminars. So the first one we'll be talking about human geographical imaginations that will form the basis or the foundation of the greater Bau. Yeah. Secondly, I will be talking about Bau, the vitality of life in relation to greater Bau again. That will be the basis for greater vitality in Bau in the context of greater Bau. Yeah. And the third one will be Bau, a life of transformation. There will be transformation of the different contexts. Yeah? And then this will be the thing that we can look at in terms of greater Bau. And lastly, the fourth one is we're looking at the nationalist, past and present. This is based on another book called The Histories of Bauk Gold Mining Settlement. This book will only cover some of the nationalists, but we also include the latest one, which is the Pak Rimban of Singai. So these are the four parts, four books that I have written to ever to um, build my scholarship, my studies and my understanding on the whole concept of greater Bau. Yeah. So in order to understand these four things first, maybe some of us will ask ourselves up, what is this greater Bau? Yeah. So greater Bau actually means in a general sense, in the international eyes, I would say, in the opinions of the people outside, we have a concept like Greater London, Greater Toronto, Greater New York. Even locally, you have Greater KL, yeah, and Greater Kuching also. So historically, the greater some place or city would would mean that there is an expansion of administrative areas of that particular city. For example, New York, it extend from a small place extended further. London as well, and then you have Greater London. In KL as well, it expands and then becomes Greater London, even trying to reach to the foothills of this Genting Highland and so on, yeah, Bentong area, or even near the Seremban area. So these are greater. In other words, it's geographical extension. All right. So this is a general exception. Of course, when you talk about this greater city of different parts of the world, not just geographically, they actually administratively, and then cover all the different development of areas extended. All right. So we have to understand this so that we can further understand the concept of greater Bau. Okay. As we know, Bau is a district itself. Okay. Which comprises Serembu, Krokong, Tringus, Gombang. Then you have Batak, Jagoy area, and then you come down to Singai area, and in the middle we have the Bau, Siniawan, Paku, and Jambusan, and then you have the Tundong area, Musi. All these areas are the different smaller cities or towns, okay, of Bau district. So Bau to me has four. One is the heartland, four areas. One is the heartland, that is the Bau town itself, which is a famous gold town, yeah, where Gunung Krian is. the symbolic iconic mountain of Bau itself, where the Lake Biru is there, okay, and the future resort is there. And then, of course, Bau District Council is there also. Bau District Office is also at the Bau City Center there, okay. All right. So, beyond that, we have what we call other cities, other small towns. Okay, like what I said just now, Jambusan, all these surrounding Bau heartland. Okay, so out there is a second area. We have Jambusan, of course, like Baku, like Siniawan. Those are flourishing towns around Bau city itself. Bau town itself, Bau Gold town itself. It is now uh, likely to be coast city because of the growing development. Yeah? And then the third one is, of course, the hinterland. This is the most important part of Bau. I repeat, it is the most important Bau as far as I'm concerned because it is where the hinterland is, where you have all the natural resources, livelihood, life of our Bidayus and minority Malays and Chinese over there. But almost you can say, I would say 90% Bidayu people, and they have the NCR lands and their own commercial land, etc. So they are developing it in the Bau district. And the last part is the edges, and there are a lot of edges around Bau, which is next to Lundu, next to Penrisen there, next to Matang, next to Kuching, Batu Kawah, next to Batu Kitang, like Lidatana. Those edges are extremely important because those places can stretch further as the extension of Bau development, greater Bau development. So having said all this, I have just defined it, but in general sense, greater Bau would mean that it is an initiative by the Bau YB, Dato' Henry Genep. That is his brainchild, and many people has caught on the vision, okay, the catchword. But more importantly is now with the basis of the thoughts and the understanding further of the Bau Bank, Bau foundational vitality as well as transformation, then we are able to build on that understanding of greater Bau. All right. So the first look I would like to quickly say it in this monologue is actually on the what we call Bau human geographical imaginations. Okay. So this one will touch on the neighbors of Bau. Yeah. We have neighbors of Bau, which actually are the original places whereby the Bibau or the Bau people now consist of. They were the first Bidayu from Bau are the first were the first settlers, but then they came from somewhere, of course, yeah. Then the second thing is under this top number one is geographical histories. Geological histories of Bau. This is particularly important because if you look Bau is quite a different land. It is a Jurassic, post-Jurassic, or it's very very interesting geological makeup. So the geographical histories of Bau. And of course, thirdly, we will be talking about gold mining. The gold mining is a very interesting thing as well. It is maybe you can say is the earliest and the least for Bau development. Gold was found, but beyond that, there is this antimony and of course bird nest and so on. Okay, the fourthly, I will touch on flora and fauna. The flora and fauna of Bau, because of the soil, because of the location, and because of the peculiarities are endemically, so the flora and fauna are different, and it's something that is good for us to understand that the greater Bao could be appreciated. And then fifthly is riparian life, which means life of Bao actually is by the river bank of Sungai Sarawak. Our Sarawak has two branches, so Bao, the whole place is run through by this Sarawak River kanan or right hand of Bao from the Kuching perspective, from Kuching side. And lastly is the human geographical changes. We can see because of the landscape and because of the geographical history, geological history, because of neighbors, because of the river life, because of the development like gold and so on, then you can see there are human geographical changes over the years. All right, almost 200 years and more. All right, we have just celebrated the BBC 200. Bao bicentennial century 200. Okay, that is the first part, first talk. Second talk, I will be talking on the Bao vitality of life. That will be the base. That will be the basis of our understanding of Greater Bao in that context. All right. So as we know, as I said, Bao has many towns, many towns. So these are the hinterland. So I'll be touching on the heartland, the hinterland of Bao, and especially the kampong like Bratak settlement, Serumbu, Singai, Jagoy, Gokong, Gumbang, Tringus. Each of these, including the heartland of Bao, are very, very rich in their cultures and so on. So in order to understand Greater Bao, this actually will be the major focus of Greater Bao development. So all these kupua, or they call it kupua in Bidayu or Kampong, is actually very, 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 very important because that's where life is. Yeah. So livelihood is, and there is where we need to really understand it in the context of Greater Bao. So I will be talking on that in the second book. Yeah. Yeah. Just give you an example. For example, in Singai, there were many kampongs, many villages. All are very under development and further development and so on. So this is what is understood as a Greater Bao, Greater Bao initiative or Bao concept. Right? Third talk will be on Bao, a life of transformation, based on my third book. This third book is really based on different things, namely political transformation, cultural transformation, and economic transformation. This could be quite important in our understanding of Greater Bao. So all these social, economic, and political transformations would require us to take a serious look at on the further development, so that not just the transformation will be going not just on track but also in a bigger way. So this initiative of Greater Bao, as I understood it, as I understand it, is really important. Bao is a you can say it's the oldest place in Upper Sarawak or even Old Sarawak. So ever since you have Kuching, you have Bao. They are just neighbor, but Kuching become the capital. Bao become an important place where a lot of transformation are going on, and today is still undergoing transformation culturally, politically, and economically. All right. So these are three areas of concern that I will share on to throw some light on the concept of Greater Bao as an initiative, as a concept for each of us. And lastly, the fourth talk will be important because of the concern about the impetus, or rather analyst, catalyst for Bao. to become today. So of course we are talking about the nationalists, the people, the leaders. So in the past, you can see that we have Patanjik Ali, probably the first nationalist, yeah, Malay nationalist, local Malay Sarawak, Upper Sarawak nationalist. And then we have, of course, the Bidayu, like people like Mita from Serembu, okay, and Kulo from this Brata area, Jagoy, and then Singai have Rimban and Sinawan, and Bao Tao is a Chinese nationalist, Liu Sambang and Wang Jia. So these are the nationalists we are talking about in the past. What are their contributions? Those are pioneering Bao developers. So they are very important to understand. And from there, we can understand the current one in the name of our current politicians from different political parties, like our Dato' Henry himself. Mr. Tasib Biru was the ex-Razru, is going to run again. And of course, Miro, Simo from PBB. And then, of course, we have SUPP as well. Different politicians, they are our current nationalists, I call it, and they are our current statesmen. And building on this past and present nationalists, we can have a better understanding of the Greater Bau again. Greater Bau is such an important initiative by Dr. Henry and others. Okay, so these are the four areas, four talks that I shall be talking about. So in this monologue, I'm only touching on the surface. I will go a bit deep, but it may not be long for each talk. So feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to let me know what is your thoughts as you listen to this monologue. Again, the most important thing is to understand the Greater Bau concept, Greater Bau initiative, and then together, then I believe we can plot the future, all right, design our life in a more fruitful way. Thank you very much for your listening of this monologue. Thank you, YB. Thank you, Dr. Henry, and so on. Thank you so much. Thank you.